graphic artists, and what we had to do was narrow down our sphere of influence. We had to choose just one graphic artist to influence the entire style of the costumes, the scenery, the animations, so that it would be unified. And we all agreed straight away it had to be Jim Lee. He's a kind of superstar of the comic book world. His take on Batman, we think, is both contemporary and definitive. Some of his iconic artworks you're seeing here, and now he's going to talk to us from the Warner Studios in Hollywood.
Ever since I was a little kid, I was always drawn to comic books, literally. I remember, sitting on the kitchen floor, my parents' home, drawing these characters. And, drawing Batman in particular was it's real exciting, because when you draw these characters, you actually become the characters. You're sort of, experiencing the stories that you're drawing. And in particular, Batman, because he's a character that doesn't have superpowers, it's something you really do feel like, certainly as a kid, that you could be Batman, right? If I just put on a cape and went outside, I could fight crime. If I just souped up my parents' car, that could be the Batmobile. And I just remember, spending days just, lying on the floor, just drawing these adventures, drawing Batman, drawing my own Batcave, drawing my own villains. So, it's something that, when I draw the character now as a professional, I definitely tap into that kind of childhood nostalgia and that kind of feeling I had, because to me, that was like kind of the magic of comic books. It's that teleportation into a different universe. Batman is a character that took on the cowl because his parents were murdered, and he goes through this great sacrifice to become this ultimate hero. But he's a hero that's just like you or me. He's a character without superpowers, right? He's a guy that just studied hard, lifted up apparently a lot of weights, became a billionaire. That's a minor point, but he did all these things that you and I could achieve, and then on top of it, he puts on this cowl to fight crime at night. So he's a character that everyone can aspire to. It's something that your parents can enjoy, your kids can enjoy, and it just has that kind of cool factor to it, because it's super villains and superheroes, and it's set in this incredible world, which is Gotham City. To me, it's a great experience. We take our kids to these kinds of things, and again, really underscores how real Batman is, right? To see a character in a Batman costume duking out on stage is something that would not work with a lot of other superheroes that have powers that enable them to fly or lift up cars and throw them. Batman is in our world, slightly different, but in our world, and it's something that's very believable. And being able to go to a production and see that performed in front of you, really underscores the fact that that Batman is a character that could very well exist. I think it's going to be something that we haven't seen before, and I think that's the real selling point here, is that it's not just CGI. They're going to be really clever about all the ways they can tell a story, through live action, through digital experiences, through the backdrop, through things that are pre-filmed, and I think they're going to create something that's very unique.
Ed, you've worked with many major rock stars. How does working with Batman compare to working with Take That and Lady Gaga?
It's true that I more usually work with opera singers and pop stars than with comic book superheroes, but you could probably argue that there's no greater rock star than Batman, and Lady Gaga might even have to concur with that. But what's true is that I've worked a lot in arenas, and as you know, arenas are primarily designed for sporting events. They work brilliantly as places where a massive audience can congregate and focus as one on the minutiae of the movements of football. And pop stars have taken arenas and begun to do their shows in them, of course, and they've tapped in to this glorious sense of mass focus. And I think what's new here and what we're doing is the telling of a story at such a colossal scale. We're using the spectacle and the scale of an arena show to deliver the emotional truth of each storytelling moment. And one of the things we're really aware of, I think, and we've talked about this a lot, is our audiences are immensely visually sophisticated. They've worn the glasses, they've been surrounded by the sound, they know the 3D digital surround sound experience. And I think what we've created here is a kind of sculptural pop art. The works of the comic books themselves are exquisite, I think, works of art. And what we've done is to extrude from the two-dimensional into the third dimension to deliver something truly unique to our audience. each of our setups develops, it's full of surprises. So the Gotham example that you saw earlier, from that we spring out into the euphoria and the colour of Haley's Circus.
At this point in the story, the audience discovers that both Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson lost their parents at a very early age. This is a bond that will ultimately unite them as the dynamic duo of Batman and Robin.